Good morning, everyone. My name is Anmata Neshma. I'm from Department of Commerce as of afternoon. Today we are going to discuss about the topic formation of a company. So, how the company is formed. So, formation of a company goes through a number of various steps, from starting from an idea of generation to commencing of business. So, now we are going to discuss about the four major phases of formation of a company. The first one is promotion stage. Second one is registration stage, third one raising of capital, and fourth one is commencement of business. So now we are going to discuss about the promotion stage, and promotions is the first step in the formation of a company. In this phase, the idea of starting a business is converted into a reality with the help of promoters of business ideas. So actually the promoters means the person who's getting full knowledge or who's giving a full support to the business to start up a business is known as a promoters. And in this stage the ideas are executed, and the promotion stage consists of the following step. That is, the first one is to identify the business opportunity. That is, we need to identify the accurate business opportunities and to decide upon the type of business that needs to be done. That is, there are many types of business. So we need there are also many competitors. So we need to get a correct idea about the opportunity and the type of business what we are going to do. The second one is to perform a feasibility study and to determine the economic and technical legal aspects of executing the business. So, while starting a business, we need to get a full knowledge according to the economic conditions and technical background. Also, we need to get a full knowledge. Only then, if we are starting a business, the business get a successful. Otherwise, the business will get flop. And the third one is interest shown by the promoters towards the business idea and the supply of capital and other necessary procedures to start the business. Actually, the promoters are given a full idea about the business, and in order to start a business, we need to invest some. We need to invest a capital also. Only then we will be able to run a business. The next stage is the registration stage. The registration is the second part of the formation process, and in this stage, the company gets registered, which brings the company into existence. So, while registering a company, we need to register according to the Companies Act 2013. It is mandatory. A company is said to be the existence if it is registered as per the Companies Act 2013. In order to company get registered, some documents are to be provided to the ROC. ROC means the Registrar of Companies. So we can see the way which all are the documents to be submitted. First one is the Memorandum of Association, MOA. MOA must be signed by the founders of the company. So who all are they going to start a business or start a company? Those members have to be signed the memorandum. In case of public company, it should be a 7 members, and in case of private company, we should have only a minimum of 2 members. And the MOA must be properly registered and stamped. And the second one is Articles of Association. The members who have already signed the memorandum should also sign the articles also. There should not be any change in the persons. That is, if public company 7 person is signing in the memorandum, that same person should be signed in the articles also. And the same in the case of private company also. For 2 members signing in the memorandum, that 2 members should be signing in the articles of association. Then third one is list of directors. Preparing a list of directors which should be filed and it should be submitted to the ROC. That is, who all are the list of directors should be filed along with this documents. And fourth one is consent. That a consent letter from each director should be submitted to the ROC. And fifth one is the notice of address. The notice of address of the office should be filed. And the fifth one is declaration. A statutory declaration should be made by an advocate of either the High Court or the Supreme Court, or a person of the capacity of director, secretary, or managing director. This declaration shall be filed with the ROC. So these are the main documents to be submitted with the ROC. The third step is raising of capital. We can raise a company's capital by issue of securities. But in the case of public company, we can issue a securities by three main steps. That is, to public through prospectus, and through right issue or bonus issue, and the third one is through private placement. These are the three methods in the case of public company. In private company, they can issue by raising securities, by issuing securities. And the fourth method is certificate of commencement of business. that after we have registered the company, we will be receiving, if the all the documents which we discussed before is submitted to the ROC, is approved by the ROC. If those documents are approved by the ROC, the Register of Companies will issue a certificate of commencement of business. So after receiving the certificate of commencement of business, only then the public companies are supposed to start the business. In the case of private company, they can start a business after the certificate of incorporation is received. That is, once the company gets registered, we will get a certificate of incorporation. Once the certificate of incorporation is received, we can start our business in the case of private company. But in the case of public company, we need to get a certificate of commencement of business, which is mandatory in the case of public company. And the public companies receiving the certificate of incorporation can issue prospectus in order to make the public subscribe to the share for raising capital. And once all the minimum members required to shares have been subscribed, a letter should be sent to the registrar along with a bank document stating the receipt of the money. Okay, in the beginning, I have just mentioned who's a promoter. The promoter is a person who conceives the idea of starting a business and plans the formation of a company and actually brings into existence. That is, once a business idea is given by any one of the persons, so that person actually giving the reality that the company which was discussed, which came into existence, and that person is known as a promoter. And according to the Companies Act 2013, definition says that according to section 269, the word promoter is defined as a person who has control over the affairs of the company directly or indirectly, whether as a shareholder or as a director. According to Companies Act 2013, it is mentioned like this. Okay, next is what are the duties of the promoter. There are two main duties: not to make a secret profit, and the second one is disclosure of material fact. That the promoter is a main person of the business, so he should not make any secret profit, or he should not kept any amount or any kind of money or secret to the company, because the promoter should not make any secret profit at the cost of company without the knowledge of the knowledge and consent, because the directors are believing that those persons, because who is the promoter, the directors are believing that person only. So if a promoter has made any secret profit, it will be a unfair practice, malpractice is done by him. And secret profit or undisclosed benefit of any type received by the promoters can be recovered from them by the company. If they have made any secret profits, the company can take back that profit also. The company can proceed against the promoters for any damage caused to him on account of fraud or breach of duty. If it is found by the directors that he has taken or maintained any secret profit, the company can take back, and also they can file a case against the promoter also. The second one is disclosure of material facts. It is a duty of the promoter to disclose fully all material facts relating to the formation of the company. That is, a promoter should not kept anything as a hide, because he has to disclose all the material facts to the directors or shareholders of the company. The disclosure of all material facts regarding the contract made and the profit earned by them for the formation of the company should be made to an independent and competent board of directors. If the promoters fail to disclose complete facts, the company may set aside the transactions and recover the benefit earned by them, because the shareholders and the directors should know what are the all the requirements to needed for the company. So if he have kept any if he have had any documents or any particular item from the company, the directors will not be able to know. So it will be a bad mark to the company and also for the promoter also, if it is found by the directors. Next topic we are going to discuss the remuneration to the promoter. The promoter has to incur the initial expense in the process of formation of a company, because before starting a company, the promoter, the person who is taking the who's giving the idea of the company, he should take all the expenses of the company, and he will get back the money after the company gets registered and once the company gets once the business has get run. The promoter has a legitimate right to claim for both the expenses incurred by him as well as the remuneration for the work done by him. The claim for expenses should be supported by vouchers and should be placed before the directors of the company when found. Because after the registration, while in the meeting or any of the general meeting or in the ordinary meeting, they have to place the remuneration details to the promoters, to the company to be given to the promoters, and it should be supported by vouchers. The next one is the promoter may be remunerated in any of the following ways. That there are three ways to where the promoter gets his remuneration. First one is the promoter may sell his own asset to the company at a profit for cash or shares in the company. And the second one is he may be given commission on the purchase price of the business taken over by the company. And the third one is he may be granted a lump sum as a remuneration either in the cash or as a shares or debentures. It will be taken, it will be given either as a cash or as a shares or as a debentures. The amount of remuneration payable or paid to the promoter is required to be disclosed in the prospectus issued by the company, because in the case of public company, the public companies will be going for the public offer because for stock trading. In that case, the prospectus, because all the details of the particular company should be disclosed in the prospectus, because the members, the persons who are purchasing the company shares will be looking after the prospectus for the whole details of the company from the registration, from the company registration onwards till up to the date. So in prospectus there will be a full details of the company. So if amount is given to the promoter, it is should also be mentioned to the prospectus also. I hope the topic is clear for you, that is formation of a company. Thank you.